Today, let's talk about what lying is really all about. So when I say what it's really all about, I'm talking about stripping away any judgments, removing, for the purposes of this video, any moralistic view, any religious view, and so on. We want to strip those away and just look at the symptom of lying. It's a symptom for something, right? People lie for different reasons. Let's explore some of these reasons today. So if your childhood was toxic growing up and you learned quickly on that you had to lie to survive, you couldn't risk being authentic. God forbid you share what you're really thinking, so all that had to be repressed, and you're learning at an early age, sometimes without even really fully understanding it, that you need to lie. You have to wear a mask. This is the only thing I can do to get through this day. Parents are always screaming at each other. You get slapped if you say anything. You've learned that in the past. You could have been emotionally smothered. Perhaps you're a victim of emotional incest. You had to always be in a role, always perform for others, being a victim of any kind of abuse at all. They may not even understand there's a thing called truth. I don't know what that is. Nobody ever talked to me about the truth. As a concept, as a way to live, as a way to communicate, as a way to share. They don't get that. They're living so much in survival mode. So if you've been raised that way, chances are, without doing some emotional work with a therapist in your late teens or early 20s, this will just naturally continue into adulthood. It may not be until you're an adult, perhaps dating somebody or have some good friends, that they're pointing out, why did you just fib about that? That doesn't make sense with your story yesterday. There sounds like there's some kind of lying going on here. And then you're beginning to realize, why do I always bend the truth? Why am I always in a role or wearing some type of mask? So we have to catch ourselves with it. And then notice if you're really judging yourself at that point, depending on how you were raised, for example, religiously, or the type of moral yardsticks that have been around you your whole life. Now, it's okay to have moral yardsticks, but if you don't understand what you've been through and how it's impacting you in your life, then you're not going to be able to work with what your moral yardstick is really all about. You don't even know who you are yet if you've been raised the way I was just describing. And then as this child, now an adult, realize, oh, why am I always lying all the time? I need to work on this. There may be some confusion between white lies versus real lies. Healthy parents, if they were raised with healthy parents, could have guided them to realize white lies are okay in a way to protect others. It's about others. Sometimes it's about kindness, showing empathy. Again, we're removing judgments here. We're just looking at a psychological way to discuss this. So a healthy parent helping a child understand that if you told your teacher you really liked her dress that day and now you feel guilty because you hated the color of that dress, that's okay. It's understandable. You didn't want to hurt her feelings, and we'll call that a white lie. A child begins to understand what a white lie is. The Santa Claus effect in a way, right? Because many kids are told the white lie that a Santa Claus exists. And there's many white lies that parents can talk to their children about in terms of understanding the difference between hurting someone's feelings or not. We all lie from time to time. Lie meaning using excuses such as, oh, I gotta go to work now, I can't talk. When in reality, you're not going to work at all. You just wanted to get away from the person. Or as I mentioned, telling somebody they look good in an outfit or you like their new haircut or hairstyle, when later by yourself at home, you're like, that was horrible, but you didn't want to hurt them. It's protecting others. Or here's a good one. Laughing at a joke you really didn't think was funny. Now, in front of others at an important social situation, many people may do that. So it's good to talk about it in this way to children especially, so that they begin to see the difference between lies that are geared more towards protecting others versus real lies. Real lies are all about protecting you, protecting yourself. Very narcissistic in a way, right? I'm going to come out ahead here at the expense of others. That's what a real lie is about. So if you're confused about a lie that you're getting ready to tell or you just told, is it self-serving on some level? If to be honest about this, is it to benefit somebody else, or is it to really just benefit you, get you off the hook somehow? Pull you away from having to deal with something that you really need to deal with. So look at what your intention is before you lie. What are you wanting to accomplish? Going to have a hard talk with yourself. You may even lie to yourself about the intention. Is that going to help you in the long run? Probably not. Quite often, real lies are about protecting our self-image or our ego on some level. We could be on a power trip. I want to be viewed this way. Well, if you're doing that now as an adult, then notice how that may tie into the childhood trauma where I need to be viewed this way, which was playing the role, right? Because you were walking on eggshells all the time. Nobody held space for you to just tell the truth as a little kid. And look, now you're doing that to yourself as an adult. So using a bit of an analogy here, it's like somebody who gets arrested for shoplifting admits, they say, I had plenty of money to pay for this. I had $400 in my purse or $400 in my wallet. And they're not even sure then why they stole the item, right? So taking away judgment, what does that mean? In this case, it may mean that they were likely robbed of their identity during childhood. Let's say if this stems from childhood trauma, somebody stole from them, in this case, the parents stole who they really are. So now without understanding this, they may go into adulthood stealing from others, sometimes quite literally. This could be stealing at a job, stealing from a store, as I mentioned, stealing from our loved ones. Now, this in no way condones stealing at all. What we're exploring here is just simply looking at the root cause of where this stems, and then the responsibility we have to take at some point in our life. And in this case, that they were stealing back, it's symbolic, right? You stole from me. That's how they feel inside, unconsciously usually. So now I'm stealing back from others. I'm getting mine. I was robbed of myself, so now I'm going to take. So this may tie in, for example, to the shoplifter, as I just mentioned. And also they may have depression, hopelessness related to the childhood. And so then there's a rush in the shoplifting. They feel alive at that moment. They're in control when maybe in their childhood they didn't feel in control at all. In fact, things were always out of control. Their drunken mother was always falling down drunk. Their dad was always screaming in their face. They had no control over things then. And now in the taking, it's a rush. They feel alive. So now they're feeling control. And that may explain the shoplifting, the taking of the item, even though they have plenty of money to pay for it. Same thing with lying in terms of understanding it on this deeper level. What's it all about? And this is what we learn as we get older. If we're raised in these dysfunctional families, as I mentioned earlier, it's our responsibility at some point to do the emotional work to realize, I'm going to turn this around. This is a big ocean liner in the ocean. I've been trained this way and it's going to take a while perhaps to turn this around, but I'm turning it around because if not, we don't grow. We stay stuck in a childhood developmental stage of fibbing, of lying, of hiding, which is never going to help us grow up and really have true joy and intimacy in our adult life. I'm not good enough. I want to hide that. But now as an adult, you'll be working with that and tolerating the uncomfortable feelings. And that's how we build real true friendships, real true romantic relationships, and real true self-love. It's about an intimacy with others and with ourselves. So a lot to think about here. Please leave me some comments below, any thoughts you may have. Please subscribe to my mental health YouTube channel if you like these kind of videos. And until next week, this is Brad Shore signing off from Ask a Shrink.